When this is the extent of marketing for Andor, it makes you wonder, is Disney hiding Andor? Especially when we compare this to another show that's airing very soon, just in 3 days on Disney Plus, Daredevil Born Again. It really starts to raise some questions. And it makes me think Disney has just plain given up on Star Wars. How's it going? Welcome to the channel. My name is Jeremy and this is The Force Fandom, a place for regular fans who love Star Wars. And today we're talking about Andor, or the lack thereof of Andor news, Andor trailers, Andor interviews. Literally no one is talking about it. And even if we just took a quick look at Google Trends, we can see a show like Daredevil Born Again is destroying Andor in the conversation. But I don't think it's Andor's fault. Instead, I think Disney is not trying at all any longer to even market their Star Wars shows. I think they're still under the impression that just doing a Star Wars thing is going to bring people to watch the show, which they shouldn't, because the Skeleton Crew, which was just out, that got more marketing and more hype than even Andor is getting, and I didn't think it got very much, was one of the least watched things on Disney Plus, partly because they didn't market it, partly because people have checked out. So if they just decided to not use marketing dollars at all for Star Wars, it certainly is starting to look that way. And when we take a closer look at Daredevil Born Again, which I know, yes, it releases in just 3 days' time. But if you go to the Marvel YouTube page, you're going to see so much Daredevil content, not just this week and in the weeks leading up to, but if we even take a step further back and see the interviews going back to 6 months ago, 4 months ago, we're seeing interviews even just a month ago of all of these actors going out and talking about the show. Why isn't any of that happening with Andor? Does that mean that Marvel is now a bigger cultural icon and a bigger draw than Star Wars? Maybe. But it's never been that. Star Wars has always been the king of the hill, the top of everything. Everyone has known more about Star Wars. Star Wars has had a wider appeal than any other IP. But if we look at the many choices that have been made over the number of years that Disney has had Star Wars, a large portion of the fan base is not happy with the choices being made. Particularly for myself, whether you agree with this or not, I think the Disney Plus shows as a whole have been a net negative for Star Wars. I think that some of the shows we've gotten have been fun and great, but I just don't see Star Wars working as well on the small screen as it does on the big screen. Now, yes, you're probably shouting, like, well, what about the sequel trilogy? It wasn't done very well. There were many things and many criticisms that I think are valid of that trilogy, and I would agree with you, but I think that the whole Disney Plus rat race, this streaming desire to get people onto your platform to pay you a monthly cost so that you can make this revenue over and over and over again. And Star Wars was the thing that launched Disney Plus, with The Mandalorian being its number one thing that launched the platform itself. I think Disney is realizing, or at least has decided, to say, hey, we're not putting marketing dollars into these shows any longer. And I think this is, again, partly due to what happened with The Acolyte. That show was marketed very heavily, very heavily. We saw interviews all over the place. We kept seeing teasers and got more information. Now, we didn't get more trailers, but there was just more buzz, more hype, more conversation. Not all of it positive, but there was so much more conversation about that than Andor. And even in the most recent trailer that played, it didn't, I'm kind of wondering, it's kind of feeling like it's the iPhone 6e. Who is Andor even for? Because that iPhone, it's just, don't buy it. It's a waste of money. It's just made to be made. And I feel like there is no target audience. When we look at the most recent trailer, the music choice just felt so strange to me. And I know others have said it's not that big a deal. And even if it was Tony Gilroy's decision, I don't think it was a great decision. I think one of the most iconic and important things is the music and the scores that we have in Star Wars. And if you even go to Andor Season 1, I think the music choices that were used there, no, they're not all John Williams-esque. I'm not saying everything has to be a clone of him, but it definitely had a different feel. And so I'm just kind of wondering, who are they even trying to market to? And is Disney just given up? And that's really where I think we're at. I think they just have decided we're not putting any more marketing dollars, anything into promoting these shows. They're going to be what they're going to be. I think Bob Iger is cutting back massively on the budget side of marketing for Star Wars, but not for Marvel apparently, because as I pointed out, Daredevil Born Again is just everywhere. So I don't know. I'm hoping we're going to get some more stuff, but we're 51 days out. We haven't even had interviews going back to 6 months, 4 months, 3 months, like nothing. And even when Skeleton Crew was out, it wasn't like Andor was being talked about then either. And is this because they're not spacing out their releases enough, that you're not giving enough runway to the next thing? No. I think if you had started marketing Andor January 1, and you'd started a process of interviews and teasers and conversations and the cast and crew talking about their time and how much they loved being a part of it and just get the buzz going. Because even if people disagree or don't love it, they're at least talking about it. Right now, no one's talking about it. And just no one. It's not like I'm making Andor videos because they're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of views. I'm making Andor videos because I really enjoy Andor. And if you do too, this is going to be the place for you to come to chat and hang out and talk about Andor. I don't know. Maybe I'm just frustrated. Talk me down off the ledge. I do think, though, that the marketing budget is just completely gone. I don't think they're going to market shows anymore. I think they're just holding out for the Mandalorian Grogu movie. And depending upon how that goes, I think is going to speak volumes for all Star Wars content going forward. That's just my opinion. That's what I think. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you on the next one. Remember, the Force will be with you always.